Black Cloud Calendar 3070-80. March 15th. Weather black cloud density S. As the sun rose above the horizon, the vibrant blue planet of memory became history. Only a purely black atmosphere met the eye,
making it hard to imagine any living being could survive in such a world. This was the price humanity paid for pollution, for war, for slaughter, for greed. But the ones footing the bill were certainly not the wealthy or the powerful.
They lived above the black cloud, thanks to technological advancements and the tireless efforts of nearly 200 million laborers over 50 years. Humanity, before its self-destruction, constructed a colossal space station around Earth's near orbit, stretching
500 kilometers long. This structure, a veritable Great Wall of Steel, was supported by 8 orbital sky towers connected to the Earth. It was called the God Ring, a true paradise standing beyond the heavens.
All major corporations and the United Government were established here, each controlling its own jurisdiction. Among them, the most prominent was the TRIMP, a national-level enterprise employing 27 million people.
Managing 30% of Earth's energy industry and 50% of the cosmic exploration fleet, even the officials of the United Government had to watch their step around it. The chairman of this behemoth, Xuanhuan, was busier than the president of the United Government.
Some junior managers started making appointments at age 20, only to have a chance to meet him upon retirement at 60. But today, he stood before the Tyrant Group's spaceport in Zone A of the God Ring, clad in a light white spacesuit,
using a gravity adsorption system to remain stable in the zero-gravity outer space. Around him, the bustling spaceport, with its tens of millions of operations per second, came to a standstill. Every corner was filled with soldiers armed with iron beam rifles,
their battle-ready posture suggesting that even if a meteor were to strike, they could pulverize it, preventing a single speck of dust from settling on Xuanhuan's shoulder. Xuanhuan, his face shielded by a spacesuit helmet,
let out a soft sigh as he glanced at the holographic clock on his wrist. The countdown ticked steadily, marking the end of a 6-month wait. He was finally coming home, since taking over the helm of the Reborn group at the age of 15.
Xuanhuan had never felt this excited. He was like a child anticipating a long-awaited Christmas gift, a joyful smile playing on his lips. And playing the role of Santa Claus was the Reborn Group's Mars Pioneer resource mining vessel.
Bathed in the glow of a solar flare, its silver hull shimmered like gold in the vast expanse of space. Chairman, Port A is clear. 240 members of the group's special transport team are on standby.
The captain wishes to inquire about the classification and type of cargo to ensure safe transport. A guard humbly requested, bowing. Classification type? How should I define it? Xuanhuan smiled faintly. It's the source of all power, the root of the apocalypse.
But it is my dream, Xuan's dream, to conquer the cosmos. Xuanhuan had never spoken so much to his subordinates, nor did he expect them to understand. At the same time, aboard the approaching Pioneer transport ship,
everyone was immersed in a self-satisfied atmosphere of jubilation. They all knew that those responsible for transporting the chairman's most anticipated cargo would receive generous rewards, promotions, raises, advancements.
The pinnacle of their careers was mere minutes away. It was this relaxed atmosphere that prevented anyone from noticing a short-haired girl in a tight-fitting spacesuit, boasting a 36D figure,
weaving her way through a group of drunken crewmen towards the door of the lowest cargo hold. Halt! This is an S-class restricted area. Unauthorized personnel are forbidden entry. Show your identification. The speaker was a quadrupedal laser tank,
piloted by a single operator, equipped with 360-degree laser pulse cannons, 4-barreled heavy-duty Thor rapid-fire guns, and 2 magma-class flamethrowers. It possessed the firepower to obliterate a small town in an instant. Identification, sorry.
The boss who hired me didn't seem to think I needed one. The girl sucked on a star-shaped lollipop, smiled, and unzipped her spacesuit, revealing her body inch by inch. The quad-leg tank driver almost drooled, but within seconds,
primal animal instinct was replaced by fear, for the body she revealed was a pure black mechanical prosthesis. In this technologically advanced era, humans, in pursuit of ultimate power and the extension of life,
had long ago developed methods of combining human bodies with machines. However, excessive use of mechanical prosthetics could also cause one to lose their nature, leading to a disease called mechanical prosthesis syndrome, medically classified as brain death.
Therefore, the use of mechanical prosthetics had always been strictly limited to no more than 30% of the human body, a rule even the military had to follow. But the girl before him, almost everything except her head, was not.
The extent of her mechanical prosthetics exceeded 90%. She was practically a walking machine. There was only one person in the world so unique and so beautiful. Phantom Joan of Arc. The driver involuntarily uttered the name.
The most terrifying monster on Earth. When hired by merchants, she was a spy. When hired by the military, she was death. When acting on her own, she was a nightmare for all living things. You know me, little one. As a reward, I'll make your death quick,
Joan said, a dimpled smile playing on her lips as she sucked on her lollipop. Joan of Arc. So what? Dare to touch the goods of my overlord corporation, And you'll only have one way out, death! The driver went ballistic, activating the laser pulse cannons.
Thousands of crimson lasers erupted from the cupola on the back of the quadruple war machine, like a disco ball's chaotic light show, except that everything they touched was neatly severed.
Thick titanium alloy floor was seared with deep scorch marks. Joan of Arc's ample physique was naturally no match for them. Yet, strangely, Joan of Arc walked forward as if dancing, flawlessly weaving through the thousands of lasers.
With an elegant split, she slid to the bottom of the war machine. 12 Thundergod cannons extended from the underside, aiming at Joan of Arc's head, beginning their rotation and warm up. No more games. Joan of Arc bit into her Star River lollipop,
Shattering it between her teeth. Rolling steam erupted from the gap in her black mechanical arm, the limb glowing intensely, like a red-hot branding iron. With a thunderous boom, Joan of Arc punched the bottom of the war machine,
directly blasting through 4 layers of tactical armor, like a red-hot knife slicing through butter. The driver hadn't even felt any pain before being incinerated in the cockpit. The rotating cannons stopped. Rich people's dogs.
It's still the free wolves like me who are the happiest. Joan of Arc sighed as she retracted her mechanical arm. The crimson color faded, returning to its black hue. From a munitions bay that sprang out from her thigh, she retrieved a new Star River lollipop.
Playfully holding it in her mouth and licking it. Boom, boom. Jane Dark's 3 punches shattered the warehouse door, stronger than a bank vault. The alarms blared, shattering everyone's slumber.
But Jan already stood before the prize of Xuanhuan's heart. The warehouse, large enough to hold 4,000 tons of rare ore, contained only a 3-meter diameter ice crystal. Raging cold smoke billowed from its surface,
Illuminated by powerful searchlights for over 100 days, yet the crystal showed no sign of melting. Finally, meet my darling. Jan smiled, her mechanical hand gliding across the 120-degree sea surface, through the pristine crystal.
She clearly saw a naked girl sleeping within the ice. Chapter 2 Hiding under my sheets. Aboard the Pioneer, the 3-dimensional alarms blared like a triumphant symphony,
Stirring the blood and sending over 100 armed guards rushing towards the warehouse. Jan ignored the pursuing soldiers, licking her Star River lollipop. She was captivated by the girl in the ice.
lamenting the unfairness of the universe for creating such a flawless body and then preserving its beauty with unmelting ice. My little sweetheart, what's your name? Jan said with a dimpled smile. Stop.
The response wasn't from the girl in the ice, but from a screen that lit up behind it. Xuanhuan, with a face as handsome and strong as a Greek statue, appeared in the center of the screen. Jean, name your price. Oh my, isn't this our most supreme antique?
I'm truly honored, Jean said sarcastically, bowing ironically. I don't care who sent you. I'll pay 10 times the price. Xuanhuan always acts decisively and doesn't haggle. Antique prices always make one's heart pound.
Jane stroked her metallic chest seductively. Unfortunately, I don't have a heart and money doesn't motivate me. Want power, I concede you a city, making you an emperor above all others. Emperor. Sounds nice, but I still don't want it.
What my employer offers is beyond your capacity to match. Jan declined. You mechanical ant. Do you really think you can steal from me and see the sun tomorrow? The barbarian group will kill you. Everyone you know. Even your neighbor's dog will be dismembered.
Xuanhuan's face contorted in fury. The sun, Mr. Antique must have spent too long in the god's ring and forgotten that under the dark clouds of our world who can see the sun. My employer promised me a new world. Can you offer that?
Jan walked towards a control panel. Wait, what are you doing? Xuanhuan panicked. I don't expect to escape with this beauty from your army, but shall be delivered to my employer now. Let's begin the delivery. Jan smashed the control panel with her elbow.
The warehouse beneath the giant ice crystal opened with a crack, and the vacuum's gravity swiftly ejected the ice chunk from the transport ship. Damn it, kill you! It'll kill you! Prepare the orbital cannons! On the other end of the screen.
Xuanhuan completely broke down, disregarding the 3,600 employees of his company still on the transport ship besides Jen. No one dared to question his orders, even though he was clearly insane around God's Ring Sector A spaceport.
4 hovering orbital cannons swiftly adjusted their angles, their half-kilometer-long barrels all aimed at the Pioneer ship. Screams filled the transport ship as its crew scrambled wildly towards the escape pods, but they were too late.
The orbital cannons, fully charged in just 5 seconds, roared, unleashing 4 silver laser beams that dismembered the massive Pioneer ship as easily as slicing through tofu. A colossal explosion ripped through the engine room in just 10 seconds.
The behemoth had become a giant fireball, momentarily eclipsing the sun itself. The resulting shockwave caused even the massive god's ring to tremble slightly. It was hard to imagine anyone surviving such a blast. Fortunately, Jan was no longer quite human.
The instant the ice crystal was ejected, she, wearing her space helmet, leaped from the transport ship, streaking across God's ring like a meteor, falling towards the atmosphere under the pull of gravity, several kilometers away.
Watching the ice crystal follow its predetermined trajectory, she felt reassured. Her companions would intercept the crystal at the designated landing site and complete the transaction. But just then, Jan noticed something shocking.
As the ice crystal burned red hot from atmospheric friction, the girl inside suddenly opened her eyes. Was it an illusion? Jan muttered to herself in astonishment. In a flash, the ice crystal was enveloped in a cloud of steam generated by friction,
And plummeted towards the cloud-shrouded earth. At that very moment, in a small, cramped tavern in the back alleys of District 3rd Federal City, Xuanhuan was surrounded by a dozen friends, overwhelmed by a relentless barrage of toasts.
His newly purchased shirt, bought for the interview, was now a grotesque tapestry of vomit and spilled liquor. His once clean-cut features were flushed crimson from alcohol poisoning, resembling a boiled shrimp. Normally a handsome man when sober,
He now resembled a drunken fool, slumped over, waving his glass around. "Come on, keep drinking, don't worry about the money, it's all on me, all mine." Xuanhuan's generosity sparked a joyous uproar.
many of the people there he couldn't even name. He didn't even know who had invited them to this free-for-all. To top it all off, two heavily made-up women with ample bosoms flanked him, their ample chests threatening to overflow.
Xuanhuan hadn't always enjoyed such privileges, nor had he ever had this much money. An orphan since birth, had been scraping by since the age of 12, juggling dishwashing jobs while saving every penny to pay for necessary classes and pursue his education.
Some advised him to learn to box or shoot, to become a bounty hunter or a thug, a more fitting path for someone of his background. But he had no interest in violence. He preferred the pursuit of knowledge. Heaven smiled upon his hard work.
On his 20th birthday, had miraculously passed the notoriously difficult regional manager exam for the Bowan Group, securing a position in the largest company on earth and reaching the pinnacle of his life's ambitions.
A managerial position at Bowan Group was a lifetime appointment, complete with company car and housing, flashing his employee ID open doors, attracting women like flies to. Well, you get the idea. They were impossible to shake off.
His indulgence and revelry were completely justified. His life was about to change forever. Yet a smile played on Xuanhuan's intoxicated face, but didn't reach his eyes. He felt no joy.
It was like a gamer who'd finally collected all the items and beaten the game. It wasn't satisfaction, but disappointment. In the end, Xuanhuan didn't take any of the busty girls home. Perhaps his vomit was too repulsive. Perhaps his home was too disgusting.
Staggering, he walked alone through the mountains of garbage at the recycling plant, returning to the dilapidated iron shack dormitory of Zhengzhong Mobile. This was the home the old gatekeeper of the garbage mountain rented to him.
The cheapest house within several kilometers. Aside from the smell, Xuanhuan had cleaned it up to a somewhat livable state, hadn't he? This kind of home wasn't afraid of theft, so the door wasn't locked. Drunk,
Xuanhuan simply collapsed onto the iron cot and fell fast asleep. This was his last night living by the garbage dump. Starting tomorrow he would have his own house, his own car. Even without seeing the sun, he could live a glamorous life, couldn't he?
But the moment the alarm clock rang the next day, a hungover Xuanhuan, his head throbbing, lifted the covers and found a naked girl sleeping in his arms. Chapter 3. Less than 20 years old, a virgin's, maybe stilt,
lived in the deserted garbage processing plant, powerless and insignificant, until yesterday when he had just passed the final interview for the regional manager of the Barbarian Group. His fate should have changed starting today.
But the change before him was a little too fast, wasn't it? Xuanhuan had absolutely no memory of how he got back after getting drunk, nor did he remember a girl being present while he ate and drank. She looked so beautiful, goddess, blushing.
Her snow-white skin was flawless, her skin and muscles firm, her curves as beautifully sculpted as a masterpiece by an oil painting master. Though her cleavage and hips were on the petite and cute side, it was exactly the type Xuanhuan liked. No good.
Xuanhuan's nose is bleeding from staring too long. Must be a hangover from yesterday. Definitely not related to the naked body in front of him and his own little tent. What to do? Should he pay her? What if she calls the police?
What if she wants to marry him? What if she's sick? Should he go for another round while the iron's hot? Hundreds of questions and answers flashed through Xuanhuan's mind in a second, then were quickly dismissed. A professional analyst by training,
he could find the real answer in the most complex problems with the efficiency of a computer program. He took a deep breath and looked around. His shorts were still on, and little Xuanhuan was standing at attention,
indicating that he hadn't lost his virginity last night. Damn it, Guo Gui. There were no girl's clothes in the room, meaning she couldn't have come back with him. Otherwise, in the lawless third federal city, she wouldn't have survived a single alleyway. Sunlight
shone on the sleeping girl's silver hair, shimmering with a dazzling silvery light. Wait a minute, when did his house get a skylight? Xuanhuan looked up. There was a large hole in the iron ceiling he'd built himself. This girl fell from the sky.
Did God, seeing his loneliness, send an angel to comfort him? If so, he shouldn't disappoint God's good intention while the iron's hot. Twat too! Pooh! How could Xuanhuan be such a despicable person? The girl is clearly unconscious.
Before Xuanhuan could finish the thought, the girl, snoring with her eyes half closed, possibly feeling cold, wrapped her slender arms around Xuanhuan's waist and buried her face tightly against his thigh. Damn it!
Xuanhuan's ship of reason is about to be sunk by the cannons of instinct. At this moment, there's only one thing a man should do! Xuanhuan went for it! He quickly pulled the blanket over the girl and turned on the room's heater. Fucking worse than a beast.
Xuanhuan, who was being embraced by the girl, would have slapped himself 66 times. Just then, the girl groaned and opened her hazy eyes. Slowly sitting up, the sheet slid down her smooth back,
And her pair of bright blue eyes shone like jewels. Xuanhuan's heart melted. In this world shrouded in darkness, where else could one find such pure and clean eyes? Hello, my name is Xuanhuan. You seem to have fallen into my house.
Xuanhuan had never introduced himself to a girl in bed before. Feeling rather awkward, the girl seemed unable to speak, her large eyes blinking as she stared at Xuanhuan, even reaching out to touch his face. Is this it? It sounds exciting.
She's so proactive. It's just the technique. What you doing? Xuanhuan didn't understand what the girl was trying to do. She kept turning his head over and over, lifting his eyelids, and prying open his mouth.
Even though Xuanhuan had never had sex before, he knew instinctively that this wasn't foreplay. When the girl's hand touched Xuanhuan's chest, a sudden light flashed before her eyes, and she threw herself at him.
Pressing her ear to his chest to listen to his heartbeat. Thump thump. The girl's heartbeat was rapid, powerful, and exhilarating. Listening to the sound, she almost drifted back to sleep. My dear, I said, I'm about to lose control.
Xuanhuan couldn't resist the girl's captivating scent. Nervously, he pushed her away and rummaged through his meager belongings, pulling out a few shirts and trousers which he offered to her. Ha!
The girl seemed completely clueless about the purpose of these thin garments. She tugged at a sleeve, attempting to pull it over her head, but failed. Utterly defeated by you. Xuanhuan sighed, stepping forward to dress the girl.
The petite girl, barely 160 centimeters tall, looked comical in his oversized clothes. Listen carefully, Xuanhuan said, gripping her shoulders. Can you understand me? What's your name? Wu. The girl smiled faintly. Your name?
Nam, what language do you speak? What's Wu supposed to mean? Xuanhuan was on the verge of a breakdown. Woo! The girl's smile widened. All right, if we chat much longer, you'll probably start spontaneously combusting. It seems you hit your head during the fall.
I'd better take you to the police station. Xuanhuan sighed, changed into his own clothes, and took Wu Shu out. Everyone deserves a name, and this girl was no exception. It's a crucial marker that distinguishes humans from animals. Though in these dark times,
many live lives worse than beasts, Xuanhuan named her Wu because she constantly uttered woo woo woo, and her skin was as white as snow. In this sunless world, her smile was like the sun, sparkling under the streetlights.
She was intensely curious about everything, from street bends to the drunkards slumped beside them, spending ages studying them. If her curiosity about those things could be described as harmless.
Attempting to touch the stray dog covered in green pus was suicidal? Hey, don't touch it! Go! Go away, woof! Xuanhuan yanked Wu's hand away, simultaneously scaring off the disgusting dog. Wu Shu looked at Xuanhuan questioningly.
Don't touch, never touch stray animals on the street. They eat anything, leftovers sometimes even dead people. The worst is, they eat discarded nuclear waste. They've mutated, they're radioactive. Absolutely don't touch them, you'll die.
Xuanhuan spoke as if instructing a child radiantly. Did you really understand? Xuanhuan frowned doubtfully. Woof woof woof. Wu Shu nodded. Good girl, let's go. Xuanhuan took Wu Shu's hand and tried to continue walking, but Wu stopped.
Xuanhuan asked, puzzled. Wu Shu looked at her own belly, then at a fried sauce noodle shop by the roadside. Are you hungry? Xuanhuan understood Wu Shu's meaning for the first time.
Fried sauce noodle shops, these were the most ubiquitous and cheapest food in this era and this city. The noodles were made from genetically modified regenerated rice flour and compared to the pure, organically grown food eaten by the nobles.
The texture was like eating plastic, and the zhajiang sauce used in these small shops. Most of the meat scraps were of unknown origin, greasy and slightly sour, needing a lot of soy sauce to mask the taste, making it incredibly salty.
Only the people at the very bottom of this city, and Xuanhuan, would frequently eat here. Yet Wu Shu ate happily. Chapter 4. I'm a big idiot. You wouldn't believe that a girl weighing barely 80 jin could eat so much!
It was clearly just slightly better than pig swill, this artificial grain and miscellaneous sauce noodle. Yet she ate 6 bowls in a row. When she finished off the greasy broth, holding her bowl and gesturing woo 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 at Xuanhuan could only think.
Were you sent by God to bankrupt me? Finally, after the 9th bowl, Wu Shu left the shop contentedly, her blissful smile like that of an innocent child. You must be a rich girl otherwise with your appetite.
You wouldn't have survived 3 years in a poor family, Zhanglan sighed, pushing his glasses up his nose. Wu Shu didn't understand Zhanglan's words, but she naturally took his hand. Her hand was so soft, like cotton candy, while his was warm.
Like sunshine melting a heart. What a strange young lady, Zhanglan muttered, a little embarrassed, his face flushed as he led Whoosh forward, a young man looking like a nobody.
Walking with a delicate beauty in a low-life district. This wasn't showing off, it was suicide. Every dark alley held the potential for a man to be killed and the girl, well, let's just say things willed end well for her.
But with his Bawang Group manager's ID hanging from his chest, Zhang Lan was as if enveloped in a protagonist's halo. Even a 2-meter tall thug with tattoos across his eyeballs would avoid him, because in this era,
the so-called federal government was a mere shell. The 7 great corporations handled administrative functions in various regions, monopolizing everything, even the law, and Bawang Group was unmatched among the 7.
This Gita third federal city was their territory. The police, courts and prisons were all under their control. To attack someone from Bawang Group was like a dog biting its owner. The dog's fate would be far worse than being made into hot pot.
Perhaps the world under the dark clouds was hell, but Zhanglan knew that as long as he had his Bawang ID, he lived in paradise. And Wu Shu, she was surely an angel in this paradise, untouched by the world. That's why she didn't know how to button her clothes.
Why she ate ice cream with it all over her face, and why she'd greet the holographic advertisements with a happy woo. Zhang Lan considered himself the city's most powerful data analyst.
He could quantify everything he saw and calculate the possible outcomes of various data combinations faster than a computer. But the one thing he could analyze was the girl before him. Where did she come from? Why was she so adorable?
Why was she so unsuspecting? Why had they met? Perhaps this is fate. The statistician's nature led Zhang Lan to unconsciously analyze what if he really got together with Wu Shu. My god, a girl who wouldn't even take off her pants to pee. She'd drive a man crazy.
Right. But even with such troubles, this impractical girl made Zhang Lan feel for the first time that there was someone in this world who needed him so much. This feeling of being relied upon was so good. While waiting at a crossroads for a red light,
a huge billboard displayed a trailer for a romantic movie. The male lead passionately embraced the female lead, spouting cheesy lines like, "I love you." Then came the age-old kiss. Actually, it was a pornographic film.
They just cut out the later scenes in the trailer. Wu Shu looked at Zhang Lan questioningly. "Little one, what are you looking at? Don't look." Zhang Lan covered Wu Shu's eyes, but she broke free and continued curiously. "Wu!
You want to know what that is?" Zhang Lan awkwardly scratched the back of his head. That, is called kissing. It's an act between lovers, but under this dark cloud, love doesn't exist. Everyone only loves themselves. To survive, they'll be a pig.
Lovers family for the right price, they'll all be sold. So-called priceless love only exists in movies or porn. Wu Shu's eyes held sadness. Her grip on Zhang Lan's hand tightening. "Don't be afraid. I won't sell you."
Because I've become the group manager, reached the peak of my life, and commanding the wind and rain is just around the corner. Zhang Lan proudly ruffled Wu Shu's head. Wu Shu laughed again. As they were laughing, 3 kilometers away,
clad in a black mechanical exoskeleton that blended into the night, was lying flat on a rooftop, a 3-meter-long heavy electromagnetic sniper rifle in her hands. Through the square electronic optical sniper scope,
Jane Dar's crotchets could even see the fondness in Zhang Lan's eyes for Wu Shu. "Kid, you've fallen for an amazing girl. Unfortunately, she's mine, so you can't have her." Jian's finger naturally rested on the trigger. A light,
and Zhang Lan's head would be instantly reduced to a bloody mess, beyond repair. But at that moment, more than a dozen hovering transports roared overhead. The wind pressure forced her to pull tight the optical camouflage cloth on her head,
preventing the Overlord from spotting her. Looking at the logos on those aircraft, Jen scoffed. "Teak, the Overlord's dogs arrived quickly. Happy times are fleeting." As Zhang Lan led Wu Shu to the entrance of the police station,
he finally understood the true meaning of that phrase. At that moment, he wished he were still lying in his small, dilapidated house, holding Wu Shu close, continuing their unspeakable dreams. "I'm such an idiot." Zhang Lan wanted to slap himself,
but all he could manage to say was, "Okay, we'll get you home soon. You're so clumsy. Don't wander off like this again, or you'll get into trouble." Wu Shu didn't understand Zhang Lan's words, simply holding his hand tightly.
Zhang Lan had come to report a missing person. The receptionist glanced at his ID card, saluted smartly, and jumped up from her seat. Officially, they belonged to different departments of the same corporation,
and Zhang Lan's administrative level was equivalent to the deputy police chief. Therefore, Zhang Lan bypassed all the paperwork and questioning, and was escorted by a group of officers to the chief's office. The chief personally collected Min's
Wu Shu's photograph and fingerprints, rushing to the database for a comparison. This was an age where personal information was meticulously recorded. Finding Wu Shu's family was merely a matter of time. Only this time, what was found was Master Gusan.
The target has been located. Someone within the organization took her to the 3rd Federal City of Gita's police station. The tyrant guard has been dispatched to intercept her, a servant reported from within the executive director's office.
Aboard the near-orbit God's Ring, which belonged to the tyrant group, that bitch Joan of Arc is also looking for her. Just in case, send Ye Wu Chang. Anyone who dares to stand in our way dies. Even if it means destroying that city, she must be brought back.
His face contorted with rage. Chapter 5 for her. What does it matter if I wage war against the world? Their parting was imminent, a 12-hour encounter drawing to a close. Perhaps they would meet again.
At some high-ranking official's banquet. Or perhaps at some wealthy noble's wedding. But Wushu would no longer be the girl who held his hand tightly, laughing at him like a son had never seen before. Wushu, after today will you still remember me?
Zhang Lan stared at Wushu, unable to help but ask, sitting on the maglev sofa in the director's office. What am I saying? What good would it do if you remembered me? According to my data analysis, there's an 87.4% probability you're from the God's Ring.
The 5% chance you're a noble lady, and even a 34.6% probability you already have a fiancé, and I, a lowly manager from a poor background, even if I do well, only have a 1.4% chance of becoming a CEO before the age of 50.
Becoming a resident of your world, let alone being with you. Zhang Lan chuckled self-deprecatingly. Sorry, occupational hazard. I'm a self-taught data statistician. I like to calculate everything in terms of probability.
I can simultaneously analyze 174 different data sets in 1 second and derive accurate results based on 365 different probabilities. It's as efficient as a supercomputer. But to those in power, it's just another useful tool.
A soft sigh escaped Wushu's lips as she gently stroked Zhang Lan's face, sensing his sorrow. It's all right, he said. Don't pity me. I'm used to it. Being treated as a tool. So what? As long as I can survive, live a little better, what can I give up?
As Zhang Lan spoke, 4 hovercrafts simultaneously landed outside the precinct. The roar of their engines shook the room, rattling the windows. Members of the Tyrant Guard, armed with pulse rifles, stormed inside.
Even the uniformed officers raising their hands and pressing themselves against the walls, unwilling to obstruct their path. Why were the Tyrant Guard here? For him. In a single second, Zhang Lan had his answer, with a laugh.
The door to the chief's office was kicked open, and 4 fully armed soldiers burst in. Zhang Lan instinctively rose, shielding Wushu behind him and brandishing his employee ID. Don't shoot! I'm one of you! I'm a Bawang Group employee! You can't kill me!
Zhang Lan shouted nervously. The soldiers, their faces hidden behind 4 lensed visors, seemed completely oblivious to his pleas. Crimson laser sights remained fixed on all his vital points. Honestly, Zhang Lan was about to wet himself. His legs trembled.
The data his mind processed told him to move that his chances of survival would increase by at least 50%. But his body refused. Wushu was even more terrified, trembling as she clung to his back. Did you hear the kid? Hold your fire, he's with us.
A man with fiery red hair in a blather trenchcoat, a pistol tucked into his waistband, strode in arrogantly. He raised a hand, lowering the soldiers' weapons. The moment Zhang Lan saw his face, he was shocked. Yes.
The person before him was the executive president of the Tyrant Group's branch in the 3rd Federal City of Gert, and also the city's mayor. He was notoriously volatile, an outcast even within the Tyrant Group, but here, he was the Supreme King.
He was also Zhang Lan's final interviewer. I remember you, kid, the little guy who's like a human computer. Lan grinned, walking closer. Looks like my judgment was spot on. Just hired you, and on your first day you've already accomplished a great feat. Excellent.
Now hand her over to me, and wait for your promotion and raise. Ha ha, President Lian. Can you tell me why the group is arresting Wushu? Zhang Lan asked tremblingly in a low voice. Haven't you seen the internal announcement yet? All right.
You haven't officially joined yet, so you wouldn't have seen it. Take a look yourself. Lian pulled out a metal plate from behind his back, gave it a shake, and a holographic electronic screen appeared before Zhang Lan. The screen clearly displayed Wushu's face.
It was a wanted poster, with a bounty of astonishing proportions. The administrative rights to an entire city. In other words, even a street beggar who successfully handed Wushu over would instantly become a regional overlord. Ha ha! This is a huge windfall.
I've directly gained another city to govern, and I can pick whichever one I want. Zhang Lan, I won't mistreat you. That last sentence was superfluous. Lan's eyes now only saw wealth and glory. President Lan, I don't need a reward.
I just want to know how you'll treat her. Zhang Lan didn't actually need to ask. The scene before him made it clear that Wushu was definitely not some lost princess or the chairman's beloved concubine. These people simply saw her as a trophy to claim credit for.
A tool for their advancement. Do you need to concern yourself with that? The smile vanished from Lian's face instantly. He backhanded Zhang Lan, sending him sprawling, blood splashing from his mouth. Wu Dansno was furious and about to attack.
But Zhang Lan stopped her. Understand your place. Who are you talking to? Higher ups want her, so you have to hand her over obediently. Even if she's your wife, You have to clean her up and send her over and add, the boss had a wonderful time, understand?
Pinching Zhang Lan's chin. Yes, Director Lion, I was being too forward. Zhang Lan quickly bowed. That's better. That's the right way to survive under the dark clouds. Lion pushed Zhang Lan away, grabbed Dancer Snow's hand,
And pulled her into her embrace. But unexpectedly, Dan Snow clung tightly to Zhang Lan's hand. Brat, do you want to die? Let go. Leon glared angrily at Zhang Lan. The 4 soldiers behind her raised their guns again, aiming at Zhang Lan's head. Woo!
Dan Snow struggled, wanting to return to Zhang Lan's side. Oh, want to die? You dare to steal a woman from the CEO? Zhang Lan lowered his head, his eyes hidden from view. I'm an orphan. I understand the rules of survival under the dark clouds better than anyone.
I grovel like a dog to power, submit to evil, and strive to become evil myself, oppressing those weaker than me, just to survive. All my calculations are based on this principle. My brain tells me to let go otherwise.
This time next year will be my death anniversary. But, reaching this point, Zhang Lan finally raised his head, which had been bowed to power, his face contorted with effort as he yanked Dan Snow back into his arms. Sheze.
I'll absolutely not give her to you, bastard. Are you crazy? You want to go to war with a tyrant? Even Leon is stunned. He's never seen such an audacious person. For her, what does it matter if I go to war with the whole world? She's worth it.
Zhang Lan held Wushu close, suddenly raising a pistol. My gun. Leon looked down in surprise. His pistol tucked into his waistband was gone. Give it back! That's an ancient left-wheel flintlock pistol from the last century.
Ammunition is practically impossible to find now. It's an antique. All right, here you go. Zhang Lan didn't hesitate, pulling the trigger. A gunshot rang out. Ah! It hurts! It hurts! Leon screamed, collapsing to the ground.
Clutching his face and writhing in pain. Blood poured from between his fingers, staining the floor. You beast! You actually dared to shoot? Kill him! Kill him! The guards at the door aimed their guns, but Zhang Lan used Wush as a shield. You fools.
Person, dare you fire? If a single hair on her head is harmed, your entire families will pay the price. The guards exchanged glances, none of them daring to pull the trigger. If you won't, I will. Zhang Lan raised her hand and fired,
shattering the clasp holding the massive crystal chandelier to the ceiling. The chandelier crashed down, sending the 4 guards sprawling.
The audiobook for chapters 1 to 5 of this issue has concluded. Subscribe to this channel, turn on the notification bell, share and leave your comments. I will continue to update subsequent content.